Good afternoon, the Furnitures. Welcome on VH Berries.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I am extremely grateful. At the left, we have Mike, and at the right of the screen, we have Matthew, of course.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
You are part of a band called the Furnitures.
Yes, we've been playing together now as the Furniture for about 5 or 6 years.
About 5 years, yeah.
We started in Baltimore, I believe, in around 2016, and we didn't play very much over the pandemic, but we're starting to get back into it now.
Absolutely. And I would love to discuss about your new and debut album that released exactly a week ago, and also to retrace the journey of those two friends, because as you mentioned, it started 20 years ago. So can you tell us a little bit more about the beginnings?
Yeah, right, it's been 20 years, man, it's long time, but yeah, Matt and I, we were always playing in other groups and other projects. We were always playing. We were just like always playing music, and it was fun to see what each other were doing. But we we always wanted to play together. It was like every time we saw each other with other groups, we were like, oh man, we should start something together or just some sort of project. And we didn't really think about doing a band or touring or anything like that. Just really simply just playing together. And we got together and just did this duo. And it, like, the first time we played together, it was really easy and it sounded beautiful. So we just decided to keep going with it.
I truly believe that at the core and the base of every duo and band, there is the passion.
Yeah, well, I think we both have our own sort of passion for music. Mike is kind of involved in another scene where he does a lot of improv and instrumental stuff. I've been kind of playing with bands, rock and roll bands, for the last 20 years. But we have a passion together for both improvisation and experimentation, just kind of coming up with new ideas every time we play. And I think that's what we had in common, maybe. Just experimenting, trying new things, and we don't really have like a template for what this band is. It's just kind of, the music that he listens to and likes, the stuff I listen to and I like, kind of comes out in this shared kind of experience.
Absolutely. And these new ideas are coming from the diversity of the sound and the instrument, because one of you is playing the synthesizer and the other one is more focused on the drums and the percussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for new sounds. We're, both of us are always, sending each other messages of like, stuff we found and gear we've heard of, and we will bring it together and just to see how it goes together, if it works or if it doesn't. But it's not really, we don't reserve it just for like instruments. It's just whatever makes a good sound, and we're always just sort of like putting those things together. And a lot of it is by chance. I mean, it's we're improvising the whole time, and we have a lot of those wow moments where we're just like, oh, this combined with this sounds great. We never thought it would sound like that, and to us, right, it's just like this new sound, and it's funny, and then we just kind of go off of that, and our songs seem to start from that.
Yeah, and Mike is the drummer and percussionist. I kind of do keys, synths, a little bit of flute and things like that, but I think we're both kind of playing in a different way than what we normally do. This band, we're doing kind of sort of in a unique way. I mean, I think he's stretching the sounds of all the objects that he finds and the actual drums that he brings, kind of trying to get new, weird, unique sounds out of them. And the same with my stuff. I kind of deliberately have focused on very mobile, kind of small noisemakers and keyboards, just so I can kind of mismatch and mix them around and try and get sounds out of them that are maybe not traditional. Sometimes I've been tempted to try and find really great old vintage synths, but it almost feels like the easy way out. I'm gonna just keep using these weird, like, little odd objects and keyboards and synths that I've found and try and get a non-traditional sound out of those. So I think it gives our sound the unique quality that it has, because we're using instruments in a non-traditional way, or maybe even non-traditional instruments, almost toy-like sometimes,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, me personally, on like my percussion setup, it's never like the same setup twice. It's like I barely know where all the stuff is that I'm gonna play, but to me that is like, there's some comfort in that, because I know there's gonna be, like, I still play the way I play. So whether it's gonna be on what instrument I pick up, it's it could be like, it could take me to a new spot and keep things interesting. And to know that Matt has the same idea and we both have the same like mindset when we go into that, that's really comforting, and like it makes it easier just to be like, hey, I'm going to try this, and we're both, Matt's totally open to it, and he usually responds with something that just makes it sound better. So it's fun to experiment that way.
That's beautiful. You mean that you are helping each other, of course. And Mike, you just mentioned a very powerful word, which is chance, because you never play two times the same sound, because you are both of you into a very specific field of improvisation.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, right. It's not even like I don't really even do that on purpose. It's just like, it's just something that, that whatever's in front of me, I use what's in the moment, I guess, and whatever sound that is, it just sort of like happens naturally. I don't know if that's a good answer or not, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that, that chance, because you like I said, with the chemistry with Matt and I, like, I feel confident it's going to work all the time, because it's just by the longevity we have known each other, and just playing together. It's taking those chances it's much easier to do, because you're confident it's going to work. Sometimes it doesn't,
but also a lot of times when we're beginning to play, even when we get together and practice, we both have little contraptions that allow us to record either live sound in the room or through a microphone, and we kind of do it randomly, just to capture the ambient sounds in the room, or maybe capture the other person fiddling around with their gear, just capturing a little snapshot of it, and then sort of using that as a loop to build off of. So it's always going to be very random, and but it kind of gives us a launching off point.
In definitive, all of these experiments, Matt and Mike, are giving you the furnitures.
Yes, that's the idea.
Is it one of the reasons of the meaning behind the name of the band?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I think it's self-deprecating, kind of, we're not meant to be focused on. It's just something in the background, but of course, you know, we're putting an album out, we're touring. We do want, you know, to be seen, but I think the music can function in a way that's, you know, utility. If you're going on a long walk or something, for instance, I think our music is very, very conducive to long walks. It's got this rhythm and this pace, and you're encountering sort of different objects and sounds and things on the way, or even, you know, maybe sitting, relaxing in a room. I don't know. I think it serves a utilitarian function, almost like furniture, where it's in the background. But again, it's a little bit of a joke too. You know, it's a little self-deprecating, as in, don't focus on us. We're just the furniture in the back of the room.
You are maybe the furniture at the back of the room, but tomorrow night you would be the furniture in front of the stage.
Yeah, we have to reconcile this difference and know when to turn it on, I guess, as they say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how much our stage presence has evolved over the last few years, but I think it can be very interesting to watch, especially watching Mike, because he has so many different objects and instruments and percussion things. It's sort of a spectacle seeing, you know, the randomness of it. Yeah, I think it does function as a performance for sure.
Matt and Mike, I would love to focus on this debut album, self-titled The Furniture. We have 8 tracks, and recently we even had video music, a collaboration with Philippe Léonard.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we're really happy with the way it came out. We recorded it on, I guess, man, I can't remember when we did it. It's been a while since.
I think it was 2018.
Yeah, just before the pandemic, and we at this club called Reverb in Baltimore, and our friend Andy Shankman runs that place, and we basically just, you know, used it for the night to do a live, because most of what we've done was live shows and live. We haven't really been in a studio or anything like that, so we thought it'd be most comfortable to just do it sort of in a club setting, and just to keep us sort of loose and things like that. It was like all the music that came out of that was like I guess it was like an hour and a half or so of just improvised set that we did, and then we went back and listened to it and sort of like, you know, piece together what we did into the songs that you hear on the record. So yeah, you know, we're, you know, and our good friend and in town here, Steve Wright, he's the one who was the recording engineer on it, and he's just magical. That guy, everything that he's done is just, you know, it just sounds perfect, and he's just so easy to work with, and just it was such an easy experience. And whatever question we had for this and that, for miking or you know, whatever, it was just like he always has the perfect answer, and he could fix anything, and I think he made the record sound incredible, just the sounds he was getting. So
yeah, it sort of allowed us to just play for a few hours at this club uninterrupted, and then we went back and edited a little bit, kind of just pulled out the sections that were really working, and you know, put eight of those ideas together for this album from about, well, it wasn't 3 hours, but maybe 2 hours of music. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're grateful to Spanish Prayers, the label that we're on, and everyone there, Ed Harris, and Greg and Randy and Jake and everyone involved. And Philip. We're grateful to the label for putting this out.
Matt and Mike, you also just mentioned that you started working on this album in 2018. If I do some math, this means that this is the equivalent of 2 tracks per year.
Yeah, I mean, this album was supposed to come out on Spanish Prayers, I believe, originally in maybe 2020. I think.
Yeah, the month the pandemic started.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, due to the circumstances and the world kind of changing, it got pushed back a few times, and that's the only reason. The music was done, finished, and ready to go after about 2 years. So I guess we averaged maybe 4 songs a year putting this album together. But it did all just happen in one night, to be honest.
And around the furniture band, there is a very strong team that you just mentioned because you joined Spanish Prayers Records, which is the label of one of the 2 members of Cigarettes After Sex, and you also have I believe, a very supportive team for touring and mixing.
Yes, very. Like I said, Ed, who's in management, Ed Harris, has been the go-between for us in this new label. Greg and Randy at the label have been great, supportive. They liked what we were doing, and we're grateful for them putting it out. To be a new band and to get a label early on that supports what you're doing and wants to put a little bit of power and energy behind it is a really nice thing. So we're grateful for that.
I am also very inspired by your imagery. For example, the cover of the album, which is a picture in black and white with a very heavy theme of both of you looking at different directions.
Yeah, I remember that day well. It was a cold day in New York. This wonderful photographer named Ibru. I think I'm saying her name right.
Ibru, yeah.
Yeah, Ibru. She had a lot of really good ideas, in addition to some of the ideas I think that the label had. And she caught a good moment, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of a stark, kind of dark and brooding image. But I think that kind of is the vibe of the music as well.
Yeah, all the stuff like the photography, the videos, like all of those are, they really, coincide with the music, seamlessly, and it's wild. I mean, it's like we really didn't make any of those decisions. I mean, all those guys we just mentioned, Greg and Randy, all these, and Ed, they're, they found they found these people, and then like it was just like a nice, they know our music so well, and like because they took us on tour. I mean, like when we first started, we only played like 2 or 3 shows, and we played a show opening up for Cigarettes up in Brooklyn.
That's Cigarettes After Sex. I don't know if we
Cigarettes After Sex. Yeah, sorry. What was the place? Was it? What was that venue up in Brooklyn? I can't remember.
I don't remember the name either.
But they heard us, and within, I think it was like a month or 2, they took us on a European tour with them for about a month, and it was really like we were just so grateful for that. I mean, because we got a chance to play our music in front of hundreds of people a night, and really hone our sound. I mean, we were just getting ready, just getting started. And, so we were playing with them. I guess it was like 20 or so shows. And, they really heard our sound, and they put together, an incredible photographer and Philippe for the video, and all worked pretty seamlessly.
if I understood correctly, Mike and Matt, you mean that the fact of being propulsed in front of the stage, in front of a huge crowd, is like the best teacher?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I mean, you can. Yeah, I mean, because you get instant feedback, of, just body language, just like sort of everything, and because it's like the audience is hearing it for the first time, just like we are. It's like I said, it's like it's, so they're probably like, oh, and that's what to me. I mean, like with improvised music, it's so intriguing to me. It's like, you have to make sort of like a decision on your own whether you dig it or not, because it's just right in the moment. It's not something you really heard before, and it's sort of like what kind of an emotion that it brings up in you, and so that, I mean, right, to do that in front of pretty big crowds every night, just starting out, was great for us to sort of like slightly tinker with the sounds that we choose to play.
That's funny because yesterday Matthew told me that sometimes the reception from the audience was very different, because sometimes they didn't understood the approach, but of course this is a minority of all the events.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think that reaction, it doesn't really bother me. I don't think it's negative, the reaction of not really being sure what to think. I completely understand that. But then, it kind of depending on where we were, sometimes the audience really reacted outwardly in a positive way. Other times they kind of just stared and looked like they weren't sure what was happening. But I think that reaction is completely valid. I understand it, and I'd rather be doing something that you didn't quite understand than something that you've sort of heard a million times before,
Yeah.
For sure. And in definitive, I believe that the best audiences for you is the one from Baltimore, in Maryland, because this is your town.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't really played around here, but the first time we played, I don't even know. The music scene around here, it's, well, because of COVID, obviously, but in the last few years, it's been a little bit fractured, and we haven't really dug into the scene around here. We like Mike said, we just kind of immediately went on tour in Europe, but we will eventually try and turn some heads in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. I don't know, we haven't really given it a shot yet. But yeah, hopefully you'd like to think that what we're doing is influenced by being in Baltimore, living in Baltimore. So it's a part of living here, and it comes from that. So yeah, maybe other people could identify with it that live around here.
It's such an easy group to just pop in and play it at small locations or big ones. We're just, it's just the two of us. And when our first couple gigs were just, just really small, like even bars in Baltimore. And it was always, we always got a great reception. Most of the crowd was, was our friends and stuff, our people just having a drink. But, just having that, it was, just having that kind of positive reception right off the bat. It was like, I think we knew we were doing something right, and we just wanted to keep exploring it. So, but, yeah, it's, yeah, it would be nice to, I mean, like, Baltimore's not the biggest city either. So it's like, sometimes, you don't want to play too much around in your own spot, but but yeah, we should, when things lighten or ease up a little bit, I'm sure we'll play around here soon again.
Who is the craziest one of you two?
We're both pretty reserved, I would think.
We are, yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I've done some crazy things.
We're both kind of mild-mannered, to be honest, but I don't know, maybe if you gave one of us tequila and the other one beer, one of us would be a little crazier, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because when I'm thinking about the furnitures, I can directly connect the band with a relationship with the risk. Because each time that you are doing a sort of improvisation, you don't really know what is going to come out. So there is, of course, a part of excitement, but there is also a part that can be scary sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all that's into it, but like Matt said earlier, it's like, and I do this a lot, like with other groups in town, just like a lot of like free improvisation, and just like anything, sort of like the more you do it, the more comfortable it is. You don't really thinking about messing up. You just play, and you have a confidence sort of that it'll work out. It's hard to explain, but so there's not, you're right, but it is sort of that fine line you tread sometimes, because I mean there's definitely some times, right, where it doesn't seem to work out, but but that's very subjective though. It's like, like we might not think that, we've had shows where we didn't really think, maybe things were flowing right, and then the audience had a completely different reaction. Sort of what I was saying before about, you just play it and then see what happens, see the reaction you get. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of risk to it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with confidence as well, or kind of like your mood or attitude going into it. It's if you're feeling good and you're feeling confident, and you could just step off that branch, kind of like just step off into the void with confidence, then I think it usually works out well. The one, I guess, danger can be that you're too looking inward maybe, or if you're improvising and kind of enjoying what you're doing for yourself, you're not thinking about an audience. I think we've all seen people kind of improvising or using their instrument in a way that's gratifying maybe more to them than than to the listener. So there is always the danger of that. You want it to be palatable to the audience, not just self-gratifying.
And Mike and Matt, for tomorrow, you will be playing at the Union Pool at the 484 Union Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11211, the United States of America.
Yes, have you been there?
I haven't been in this very special space before, but I was in New York for the New Eve and the Christmas.
Ah, okay. The Union Pool is a great venue. I've played there with other bands before. Mm-hmm. It's got a nice sound system and a nice outdoor area. Yeah, it's going to be lovely.
How do you prepare yourself before these tomorrow performances?
Yeah. Like Matt said before, it's just, a lot of our, it's sort of like the way we play is an extension of how things are going, how our day's going. So it's like tomorrow when we play, we don't really, there's not even really a pre-gig like pep talk or anything like that. There might be some little things like, hey, maybe I'll start it off like this, or, look for this sound or something like that. But a lot of that we just sort of we get our sounds together. Getting a sound for this kind of stuff is pretty big. So our sound check, we really kind of hone in on, make sure we can hear everything everything well, make sure all our equipment works and all that stuff. But yeah, but for the most part, we just go up and play.
Matt and Mike, the Furnitures, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
I really invite everybody to listen to your debut album, From Gumdrop to Strum.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Victor.
Thank you. Really appreciate it being on your podcast. Thank you.